What's up, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network, Final Fan TV. I am your host, the Warrior of Hype, and joined with me is at FFVII Music, FF7 Music. Just straight to the point. This is what you're about, all right? So Steven, thank you so much for joining me once again on Final Fan TV. It's good to see you again. How are you? Oh, your mic is not working.
There we go. Is it working now?
It is working now. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I am very glad to be here, actually. Very excited to talk about Rebirth music. I know we did the remake analysis a few years ago. It sounds crazy that it was years ago, but...
I know. And that's what I've been sitting at this weird spot in the content creation thing, right? Where it's been like, when I started this, it was in 2020. That was nearly 3 or 4 years before Rebirth, and it was just 3 or 4 years of just hyping up Rebirth in 16, right? Now, both of those games were announced in 2020. Now, it's at this weird point where there's nothing Final Fantasy related on the horizon, right? So, as the warrior of hype, I need something to hype. I need something to hype up, and I got nothing right now. But we are going to talk about Summer Game Fest and kind of predicting a little bit there as a little side quest for this final podcast, 81. So we will be kind of diving into that a little bit, maybe what's on the horizon for Final Fantasy and what the Warrior of Hype is going to be going full force on very soon. So yeah, let's go ahead, and I'm trying to figure out, do we jump into Summer Game Fest predictions or do you go right to the music analysis? I'm going to say let's get Summer Game Fest predictions out of the way because I don't feel like we're going to spend too much time on this topic. There's not much that we can talk about anyways. Like I said, Rebirth already at the top of the year in February 29th. So we had that. We had the Rising Tide DLC for Final Fantasy 16 release, maybe I think it was last month, which was fantastic. Now,
it's actually 2 months ago now because it's June now.
Jesus, time is flying by. So speaking of Final Fantasy 16 though, I think the first safe prediction I got is that I think Final Fantasy 16 for PC will be announced, and I think I don't want to go with this crazy like possibly shadow drop thing, but it maybe shadow dropped, because I'm pretty confident that we do get a summer. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Final Fantasy 16, believe it or not. Talk about time again. It's been 1 year since we got that game come June 22nd, I think. So yeah, I think it's time to get the PC version of Final Fantasy 16. What do you think, man? Do you think that is that's a safe bet?
I would have said so, but it looks like Cloud Sky is saying Summer Games Fest doesn't have Square Enix on its list of partners.
Oh my god, that's true.
But if it did, then yes, I feel like a year should be about the appropriate time frame, right?
Yeah.
I just want my freaking DLC soundtrack announcement. Like, what the heck happened to that? Like, I know I'm being too on brand here, but seriously, the DLC had good music.
Oh, so good.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, that's that is a good point. It wasn't listed on the Summer Game Fest partners wallpaper there. That's a good point. I didn't even think about who said that in chat, because that's Cloud Sky. Good eye, Cloud Sky. That's that's right. It doesn't I don't know if that necessarily means that it couldn't show up at the Summer Game Fest live. I don't know. We'll see. That is a fantastic point, because if that means Square Enix is not going to be at Summer Game Fest Live, I see nowhere else that they would even announce any announcements at. Like, it would have, because like we just had the State of Play, and that had nothing Final Fantasy related, no Square Enix stuff there. So it's kind of like it's either Summer Game Fest Live or Xbox Showcase, but it's not going to be at the Xbox Showcase. And I mean, I mean, it would be cool to get Final Fantasy 16 over on Xbox. And they have expressed, the new president has expressed that wants to get multi-platform back going. So, yeah, I think it's too soon to say Xbox gets Final Fantasy 16, especially since the PC's on the way. I think that's the first thing they're going to do. So that's my first prediction. I think the PC version will be announced or released or something during Summer Game Fest, during the 1-year anniversary of the game. Now let's get on to the one that's on everybody's mind, right? Everybody's thinking
Right.
about it. Final Fantasy IX Remake. Now I have some fun little information that could spark some excitement for people. So let's go back. Gosh, we got to go back a little ways ago. This is during 11 months ago, during Jeff Grubb's Game Mess Mornings. And I'll just play the audio for you. You can hear it.
Most of the Square Enix games in there have been confirmed or even came out by now.
Now he's talking about the NVIDIA leak. This is 11 months ago.
Except for Final Fantasy IX Remake and Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster, I will say I heard very recently, once again, Final Fantasy IX Remake is real. Like,
there you go. Final Fantasy IX Remake is real, is what he's saying. So that kind of confirms it. I don't know if he...
that is real and happening, so, you know.
Do you think if they do that, they adopt the 7 combat, the sort of mixed real-time?
I wonder.
That game just feels a lot less.
Okay, so yeah, they go on from there. But from what I hear, the answer to that question was that it was going to be ATB, and I don't know where I don't have the source for that. That they said it was going to retain the classic gameplay systems. Trying to find the source for that now. And here's another one. This one was recently. This is coming from gamingbible.com, updated May 22nd. And this is coming, when asked, this is asking a leaker, kind of a reliable leaker, Midori. When asked if there were any remakes currently being made by Square Enix, the leaker said, leaker responded, yes, but Final Fantasy X remake title, but there is not a Final Fantasy X remake title in development. So yeah, there's that, another little hint at it. And then we have one more thing. This is the most definitive. All right, this is the most definitive. Besides, we got Jeff Grubb, who is super reliable. I trust what Jeff Grubb says. I love his content, love what he does. But this would be the most like concrete rumor that you need. This is coming from Yoshi P himself. during one of the Final Fantasy XIV presentations. It was, you may have noticed a lot of Final Fantasy IX references here, but the reason is a secret. I mean, so yeah, that was talking about the Final Fantasy XIV wind-up minions, Zidane and Garnet. So, and he's like, you may have noticed a lot of Final Fantasy IX references here, but the reason's a secret. So basically what I'm trying to say is I think Final Fantasy IX is definitely on the horizon, like as an announcement, and it's going to happen very, very soon. If it doesn't happen this summer, like I'm 100% going to happen at the Game Awards, right? But I feel like the summer, it might be the time to do it. I feel like it's so close. It's already so heavily rumored. People are talking about it. We want to see it. I think it's going to happen. We got Final Fantasy XIV with all of their wind-up minions. We have Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. The mobile game had a lot of Final Fantasy IX crossover stuff going on too. And what makes that weird is, like, in my mind, here's what my mind is telling me when it means, in my mind, I think there was already like this set timeline of events that didn't get honored for some reason. Maybe 9, the announcement needed to get pushed back, and the announcement wasn't made when it was supposed to be made, but the Ever Crisis stuff was already ready to roll out, and they just went ahead with that. And it was supposed to kind of coincide with a Final Fantasy IX Remake announcement, but it didn't. So that's why I'm like, I think 9 was supposed to be announced later or earlier, maybe even during the Game Awards last year, and it wasn't. And now we're kind of going maybe see it at Jeff Keighley's other event, Summer Game Fest. That's where my mind goes to. So there's that. That's my predictions, and I put Kingdom Hearts 4 in the thumbnail, so I'm just going to say, hey, Kingdom Hearts 4. And that's probably where I'll leave that. I don't know if we're going to see Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm going to go ahead and say unlikely, but what do you think, Steve?
Unlikely.
Yeah.
I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is unlikely. Yeah, I mean, 9 I think is going to be the likeliest. I don't know anything about the reliability or credibility of any of these people, so I'm just relying on what other people say when they say that they are super reliable. So I'm just assuming that yes, it's probably coming. That actually leads me to a lot of questions, which I'm not going to get into now because that'll derail the whole podcast. But yeah, I think if there are new Final Fantasy announcements, and in order, I would say 16 on PC and then probably a 9 remake, I think would be the top two. Honestly, there's not really a whole lot. Like you said, we're kind of in like a dry spell with FF for a little while. So yeah, I don't even know what I would say number 3 is. But I do think, it seems like 9 is supposed to be coming in. Yeah, that crossover event, I think it started in like November or something. It was just really weirdly timed. So it was
so random too.
Some people were also speculating that that Ever Crisis wasn't performing as well, and so they wanted to do something, and they had planned it for later, and then ended up just like jumping the gun on it because they needed. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I have literally no idea. Those were just rumors, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the 9 remake rumors have been floating around for so long. So, hey, if it's real and they announce it, I think that'll be pretty exciting for longtime fans and people who haven't played it and want to.
Yeah, and we're gonna. I think that kind of wraps up the Summer Game Fest predictions side of this podcast. I do want to just say that I am one of those people who have picked up Final Fantasy IX again for the first time in a long time. Like, it has been several years, maybe even decades since I've played the game. So
like almost 2 decades for me.
Yeah, dude, the Maguri mod is insane. The stuff that they've done with the Maguri mod is it's 16:9, it's 60 frames per second, it's 4K, it's it still retains you can speed up the 3 times speed and all the other stuff that if you want it, but God, that Maguri mod, and they've gone through and even enhanced the lighting. It is so good, and I've been playing it on my Steam Deck, and I love it so much. I got my Steam Deck, and then I hook it up to my big 4K screen, and playing Final Fantasy IX on the 4K like 65-inch TV is just so good. It's so good. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my time with it. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the remake, and of course we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy IX Remake on Final Fan TV for months, maybe years to come, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it's like hey, it's 2024, but I doubt that. But yeah,
I wouldn't expect it that soon.
Dude, no, me either. As soon as we get the slightest bit of Final Fantasy IX information, you can expect Final Fan TV. Everybody watching you guys can expect me to just be kind of bringing the hype for that. So look forward to that, and we will have many conversations in the future about what Final Fantasy IX Remake could be, and all that other stuff. But it's time to get on to the main topic for this podcast, which is Rebirth music analysis. And who better to do that with than Steven, the at FFVII music. Ah, so good. All right, so what do you want to dive into first? Steven?
There's actually quite a bit though that we can talk about. I actually think the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually maybe one of the most least exciting ones.
Okay. Start off slow.
I said one of the least exciting ones, rather. Okay, so we all know, like, when Remake came out, we got the OST, and then we saw that the title of the boss battle theme for Sephiroth was One Winged Angel Rebirth, and then we saw that the title of the next game was Rebirth, and then everybody's like, oh, well, we got to look at the title for the next One Winged Angel, see what that's about. So the title of One Winged Angel on Rebirth in English is One Winged Angel Reborn. People were telling me, oh, okay, so the next one's going to be Reborn. No, Rebirth and Reborn is the same word, basically, so no, I don't think so.
I can't see that happening.
So what I actually did is I went to Turquoise Hammer over at Shinra Archaeology, because he does a lot of my translation work, pretty much all my translation work, actually. And so I just kind of asked him about both titles, because when I use the an online translator, which I don't like to rely on those, it had for the kanji, it had for the Rebirth One Winged Angel, it had it as Rebirth, One Winged Angel Rebirth, and I was like, okay, well, that's weird, because I thought that was the one for Remake. Turns out that in Japanese, the Remake title is actually something closer to Regrowth, or as both the online translator and Turquoise Hammer also said, Regenesis.
Wait a second.
Yep. So it's interesting. In Japanese, the Remake one was actually called like Regenesis, Regrowth, something like that. And then the one on Rebirth is actually One Winged Angel Rebirth in Japan. So kind of like again, we're starting on like a less exciting one, because it's like, no, it doesn't, it's not telling us anything. But I got asked about it a lot, so I wanted, especially because they didn't reveal the track list for Disc 7 until it came out.
Yeah.
So people were like, ooh, well, they're hiding something.
That's actually,
I think it was just spoilers.
I mean, that's pretty cool though, because like I recently made a video of like 7 titles that would be perfect for part 3, and one of the titles that I had listed was Regenesis. Like I said Regen might be a kind of a cool way to shorten that, so so that's why it's Remake, Rebirth, Regen. But I said Regenesis also just kind of has a cool ring to it. Remake, Rebirth, Regenesis, and of course we know what Genesis means. But that is that is interesting, because I could have used that. I could have used that information to kind of support that when I get a little bit more. Yeah, that works out great.
I always said Regenesis would could be the one that they did if they did do Dirt Cerberus like remaster, since he actually has a presence in that game, even if it's very, very minuscule. But
yeah, and that's I'm going with Requiem for the Dirge Cerberus. Yeah.
Requiem.
All right, so that's awesome. Good. I like that little tidbit of information there. What else you got for me?
Okay. So, first time I was on here when we were doing the remake one. I think I talked a little bit about how the opening is used throughout the game, because like the opening leitmotif is actually used a lot in remake. And what a lot of people, I think, had forgotten, maybe not a lot, but some people had forgotten, was that the opening notes of the opening theme is actually the Lifestream's leitmotif. It's used in the theme Lifestream in Final Fantasy VII. And so it really is actually representative of the Lifestream. Now, there's not... Like, it is kind of weird, because it's like, because we've already established all this stuff in Remake, Rebirth is just more kind of like solidifying things rather than like revealing brand new things. But I did pick up like a few things I thought were interesting with the kind of opening / Lifestream leitmotif. The biggest one is actually at the beginning of chapter 12, when, well, not the beginning, but when Cloud goes to sleep before the Gold Saucer date. Mm-hmm. And it segues into this, into one of those Zack sequences, right? We're hearing a very small snippet of, the Lifestream opening motif. And it's the same one, if my ears were not deceiving me, it was the same one that we heard at the beginning of Chapter 9 of Remake, when, Cloud's, had snuck out of the house, and Aerith pops out, and, it's like, oh, I'm going with you to Walmart. And then, like, he has, like, the vision that we don't see, and he like, sheds a tear. Mm-hmm. We hear that little opening motif, and we're hearing, if I heard it correctly, we're hearing the same motif, like exactly, like basically cut and paste that track over the chapter 12 thing. Now, it's kind of interesting, that because obviously Aerith and Zack have a connection through their past, and of course there's also I think general consensus that Zack is the other worlds are like within the Lifestream, and so we're hearing like a Lifestream motif, right? So that would kind of reinforce it. Again, it's not like tremendously like groundbreaking, but it's just like the music kind of like helping do some of that narrative, narrative lifting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course we do hear it in a couple other places, like when you're controlling Aerith in Chapter 13 in the Temple of Ancients, the theme that they play there is based off of it's based around the Lifestream. It's called Labyrinth of the Lifestream. It is on the OST. We also hear it towards the end of the scene at the lake in front of the Forgotten Capital, when they're at the very end of the scene when they're all walking off. We're hearing this Lifestream motif, which of course kind of makes sense given the events that transpired in Chapter 14. And of course it does also play a huge role in Tifa's Lifestream journey. I could have like a 2-hour discussion about that music alone.
With Tifa's in the Lifestream?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, her like the themes that play there's a lot of interplay going on. I won't touch on the whole thing because I did a whole tweet thread about it, and I do want to talk about other stuff.
Yeah, 1 second though. Let me bring that up so that way you can hear it and talk about it. But what's really cool about what you just said, it does, like you said, man, it does have that correlation between Zack and the Lifestream, which is, I always feel like the music does have a message within it. And if you're hearing that Lifestream motif right before seeing Zack, I think that you can absolutely assume that this is happening within the Lifestream. And I think we've already everybody's at that point anyway, like you said, the general consensus. So Tifa falls into the Lifestream. Let me get to that point right. I should just start with Tifa! Alright, so let me see if I can probably bring this up as a video for everybody to watch, but you guys can hear it. It's all about music anyway.
Tifa.
Pumpkin.
So the music starts.
Yeah, we're hearing the music should already be there.
Okay.
Come on! This way! Yeah! Come play with us!
So what are we hearing right now besides that loud wail?
So it starts off with with some Lifestream. It's harder to hear here. If you do want to, I did send you the audio file through Drive.
You did? Oh, there you are.
I believe it should be in there as well.
Tifa Lifestream Chapter 9.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Hold on. Sorry. Oh God. Planet Struggle, I think was what I called the first one.
Struggle. That's cool. Awesome. All right.
These are all just titles I made up, but they haven't been released, so if it will play.
Oh.
Come on now.
There you go.
There it goes. Yep. So it starts off. I think we're gonna hear the Lifestream, music kick in here. Oops, there it went. Except it's buffering now.
Maybe I can download it.
Yeah, you should. You can definitely download it from Drive.
Okay. So as I do that, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can kind of like dig into it just a little bit here. So when at first you're gonna hear pretty quickly, like it has this little sustain, and then you're gonna hear very high pitched the opening motif, which is again it's Lifestream motif. And that goes on for a little while, and then we actually get something very interesting because it's not anything specific to Final Fantasy VII, but what we end up hearing is a piece of music called the Dies Irae. The Dies Irae is something that everybody has heard because it's used in pretty much any medium that any storytelling that has that involves death, and also that has music accompaniment. This is basically like the musical personification of death. Like it's the representation of death in music. Who wrote it is actually disputed, so I'm not even going to get into all that kind of stuff. But basically, that's what it does. I mean, it's been used in tons of movies, plays, shows, all that kind of stuff. And you start hearing it coming in through this theme. Like after kind of Lifestream stuff fades out, we start hearing the Dies Irae, which makes a lot of sense because the Lifestream is where people are supposed to return to when they die, right? And Tifa, asks later on, "Am I dying?" when she starts reliving her memories. So she's not sure if she's even alive, and so it's has a dual representation there, where it's both like representing like the Lifestream as like the place of death, but also kind of like Tifa's mindset of like, holy crap, am I dead? And what's funny is the Lifestream's always kind of like depicted in a positive light, right? It's like the music for it is a little, it has a little bit of sorrow to it, but it's it's kind of upbeat, or not upbeat, but kind of like warm. It kind of makes you feel good when you listen to it and stuff. And then when they talk about it, they don't ever talk about it as this like dismal place, right? Yeah. But the Dies Irae is very much a dismal sounding theme, so it's kind of interesting that they just flipped it, and gave it kind of this more morose, kind of atmosphere. So that's our Lifestream motif, right? Mm-hmm. Again, makes sense.
We've heard that a lot. Yeah, in the Lifestream.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I don't actually have the timestamp for this one, but it shouldn't be too long before we start hearing the. You want to just skip ahead like maybe 15 seconds or so. Okay, you hear that the organ? Mm-hmm. That's our Dies Irae. So that's the piece of music. I mean, you'll hear it all over the place in media, but
yeah. Okay, so that's that Dies Irae is signifying like death. That's very cool. I like that. That you've pointed that out.
And you can hear it sounds very like macabre. Like it's not a happy piece of music. And again, like with the Lifestream stuff, it's usually a little bit more heartwarming, I guess, if you want to call it, if you want to say that. But here, we're kind of really getting a sense, I feel, of Tifa's confusion and maybe a little bit of her distress in this moment. And I think the music is just done really well. Another thing that happens, you hear a guitar plucking and doing harmonics. Now, harmonics on a guitar is actually where you have a fretboard and like between the frets, they have these like, they have things between, they have little dividers between the frets, and then you basically put your finger on it and kind of like hit the strings, and if you got it just like, if you got your finger like just on the strings, it'll actually create like a really kind of high pitched sound.
I used to be in a band, Steven, and it used to be like, I'd be like, yo, give me like a you know what I mean? Like, that's what I like.
yeah. I was just, I thought I remember you like having played, so I knew you knew it. But the interesting thing is, like, as we progress through like the next themes, like if you want to go to the next Lifestream theme, you'll actually hear the music's not doing the exact same thing, but the instrumentation pretty much stays the same, and we get another repeating organ pattern in the next one, which is actually an arrangement of Tifa's theme. It plays while
Tifa's theme, Memories or Revelations and Confessions?
It should be Memories.
Okay.
Yeah, because this one is the one that plays during. This is the one that plays like while you're going through her memories, and you hear a similar instrumentation. Like the organ is playing something different, but it's a constant repeating pattern that you can hear here. So it's different, but it maintains some consistency, and you hear the guitars doing something pretty much, the exact same, just different chords, right?
That also kind of reminds me a little bit of the, I may be mistaken on that one, but it reminds me of going into the Forgotten Capital, like the, like that little up and down.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does kind of have that sound to it. Now, maybe there's a little bit of a connection there, because obviously, Listen to the Cries of the Planet is essentially a repurpose. I'm actually going to talk about this in a little bit here, but it's essentially a repurposed theme now in the remake trilogy from where it was in the original game, and it involves all the new stuff going on, and of course we're about we have all the stuff with the whispers going on in the Lifestream sequence, so but this is a beautiful theme. I mean, there's not much else to it. It's Tifa's theme, but it's got you can hear the guitar plucking, doing harmonics. You hear the organ going again, just like it was. I just think it's really cool how they maintain this consistency, not just through motifs, but through like the actual instruments that are being used. It's really clever, and I really want to know who did these, like who's responsible for this, and B, like why it wasn't on the original soundtrack. It's got to be on. They got to put it on the next one. This music's too good.
Okay, Revelations and Confessions is the next one you want to do, or?
Well, that one's actually not even a live stream theme. I put that in there just because it was part of the grouping. Honestly, those are the two big ones that I wanted to talk about. The last one is mostly like the last live stream theme. There is mostly just Sephiroth's theme playing while he kills the weapon, and then we get a little bit of Tifa's theme coming back in at the end when she has the memory, or not the memory, but the visions of Zongon, Bear Aerith, and all of them reaching out their hands. Actually, like the main part of her theme kicks in right when Aerith says Tifa, and then we get like that familiar. And I just think that's such a cool moment because it's like this bond between Aerith and Tifa in the remake trilogy is so strong, and I love it. And it kind of reinforces it when you start hearing the familiar motifs and hooks and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So what's next on your list?
Oh, what else we got? Let's see here.
We got some Sephiroth going on. Do you want to stick with Sephiroth? No?
I actually don't even have anything specific to Sephiroth this go around. Now the thing is we've got Sephiroth's main themes. It's those chosen by the planet, which is like his actual character theme. Then we've got One Winged Angel, which is what everybody knows him by. And like those are the two things that just play constantly whenever he's around. So I don't really feel like there's a whole lot to like dig into there necessarily. So I didn't really prepare anything. I mean, the only thing I'm going to say is we were all hoping for Birth of a God, and we didn't get that.
We did not get Birth of a God. I can't believe it.
I'm very sad about it, because when I saw, when I saw the, his form, and I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna get it, and we didn't get it.
We didn't get it.
And I'm very sad. They found ways to make the music crush me. I can't believe it. I was like, no matter what, I always like, even if I don't like a lot of the stuff they're doing in the remake trilogy, the music will always, but then they had to go.
And then they just did that. They went ahead and did that.
Yeah, I kind of prioritize my list here of like things I want to talk about most to least. But I think we should probably just jump straight to Listen to the Cries of the Planet, since I just mentioned it.
Sounds good.
You mentioned it. Yes.
Yeah.
So as I said, it's kind of been a repurposed theme at this point. Like we don't hear it in the Forgotten Capital or Forgotten City, whatever you want to call it.
So this is the
right.
I Give You My Blessing.
This is one arrangement of the theme. Of course, you can hear more faithful ones on the OST, which you have, but yeah. Now this plays during the whole sequence where Sephiroth is telling Cloud about the alternate worlds and all that kind of stuff. Right. This is that music, and of course, where did we hear this motif in Remake? Edge of Creation. It was 7 seconds till the end, right? So they've essentially repurposed this theme for the Remake trilogy to kind of tie into all the alternate world, whatever the hell else is going on stuff. Like it's kind of representative of that. Now we hear it in the Temple of the Ancients as well as background music, which is actually really interesting. This is actually one thing that I do want to talk about that does involve Sephiroth. Now, first of all, I just want to put everybody's complaints to rest, because everybody was upset about how there were no synths in remake soundtrack. Well, guys, there are synths, and Listen to the Cries of the Planet. And you hear it in Temple of the Ancients. Yeah, it starts out with this. It doesn't persist through the whole thing. It starts out with it and then fades out. I honestly, given how much Square seems to be paying attention to fan feedback, I wonder if they were like, guys, you gotta put this.
You gotta put some sense
like,
in it.
Yeah. Like, come on, guys, come on, just do it.
I feel like I heard a little bit of it too, in like it was either Jenova Emergence or Jenova Tenacity, but I heard the synths.
We're gonna have a whole.
We're gonna
talk
jump
about
into that.
Jenova and synths. Yeah. We'll talk about that too. And actually, I put a note in here about it tying into
Okay.
Genova's.
So with this, I give you my blessing. This Listen to the Cries of the Planet, this version of it. Did you pick up on anything in this one? Because just like I feel like it's pretty much kind of a faithful version of the song. I don't think there's anything that happens too crazy, except for what we get to.
Let's see if I can look at
Because it.
Yeah, this is still Listen to the Cries of the Planet. I think those chosen by the planet came in at the very beginning, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah, because I don't think there was anything that I picked up on either on that one as well. Because that's such a pivotal moment of the game that I was just kind of like, all right, maybe there's something hidden within that one, but yeah, I didn't hear anything in that one. Chad, if you guys heard anything in that one, let me know. I always listen out for Jenova, just because I always feel like Jenova's present somewhere around there. But
it sneaks in there. It'll sneak in there sometimes.
Like
Oh, and people mistake all sorts of things for Genova's because it has this like descending pattern, but it's also common in some of the other things too. Real quick, Vinya asked if Birth of a God was intended to be Sephiroth's theme before OWA became so entwined with him. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I've never heard anything about it. But his actual character theme is Those Chosen by the Planet. That's his actual theme.
Yeah.
Birth of a God and One Winged Angel were boss battle themes, but One Winged Angel was just, so mind blowing to everybody at the time that it just kind of like supplanted Those Chosen by the Planet. But they actually, all three of those themes have similar motifs in them anyway. So, yeah.
Definitely everybody listen to the War Hero Sephiroth, because I think that's a really cool.
Yeah, that was got One Winged Angel on it too.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about that one when I was listening to it before this podcast was with that version, they chose a specific part of One Winged Angel that I thought was interesting, rather than the boom 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 boom.
Yeah.
Instead of doing like that one. They went with the one where it was like, the
Veni Veni Venias part, yeah.
Yes, and what that translates to is like, isn't it like Don't Let Me Die? Like
no, that's an Advent One Winged Angel.
Okay, what does that translate to? Do you know?
It's like come oh come or something like that. Hold on, I can look it up real quick. I'll give a nice piece of trivia real quick about it while I'm doing that. The composers don't actually usually name the themes, and Uematsu actually said that he was very happy that they did not name it Sephiroth's theme when he found out that the title was One Winged Angel. Nice. He was like, "I'm so glad that it wasn't put." They didn't put it as Sephiroth's theme because he didn't think of it as Sephiroth's theme at the time. Yes. Oh no, you are right. Nema Morta Facios is Do Not Let Me Die. So it's Come oh come, Do Not Let Me Die.
Yeah, because I thought that was interesting that they chose that part rather than like anger, fear, hatred, or what are all those other things like
burning inside with violent
burning
anger
inside with violent anger. Yeah, rather than using that one because he's not at that moment. He's not burning inside with violent anger. So I thought that was maybe the reason why they chose that section of One Winged Angel to play during the War Hero Sephiroth. That was my little finding, I guess. But where do you want to jump into next, Steven?
Well, Joshy Poo said that I'm giving him deja vu, like we've met before something. So maybe we met in one of those like Lifestream roles or something. I don't know. But no. So with Listen to the Cries of the Planet, real quick, for the Temple of the Ancients version, I actually don't like that they just call it Listen to the Cries of the Planet, because it's actually pretty different. Now, again, it does have the sense, and I'm going to come back to how I think that might tie into Jenova, even though it's not playing her theme. Like, it is the Cries of the Planet. But the sense, I think there may be a connection with Jenova there. But this version of Listen to the Cries of the Planet also has Those Chosen by the Planet in it. Now, for anybody who does not know, this plays during the gameplay segments of Temple of the Ancients when you're controlling Cloud. When it's Cloud, Barret, and Tifa, right?
Now, is this a song that you want me to be playing right now, or are you just talking about it?
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can if you want to.
Okay,
it's on the original. It's on the original soundtrack, but I think it's interesting that they put Those Chosen by the Planet in there when you're playing as Cloud in that section, because as we all probably remember, he's losing his mind at this point. Like, he's falling further and further under Sephiroth's influence, and I think that's probably why they chose to like meld those two themes together. Because again, Listen to the Cries of the Planet is also kind of being repurposed here. It wasn't the Temple of the Ancients theme, right? That was Forested Temple, which we hear a lot in Temple of the Ancients, and now they're kind of using Listen to the Cries of the Planet for like these new things that they've got going on, which of course all revolve around Sephiroth. So Cloud's basically revolving around Sephiroth at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you get to that.
Such good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's yep. Yeah.
So that's blending in with the Listen to the Cries of the Planet. Yeah, that's cool. So that is some interesting things that you've pointed out there, whereas the Temple of the Ancients is very heavily, not heavily, but it feels darker this time around. And even Aerith kind of walks up to it and goes, she stops, and she doesn't she say something like, so much anger or something like that, right? Like, she senses something before she walks in, and it wasn't like a great thing. Like, she's so much anger.
The temple is amazing in this game, but it's a lot less whimsical. You don't have old dudes with long beards roaming around.
Exactly. It's also a different temple. I'm just that's it's
not even on the same
This is up north. This is not the one down south that we're used to.
Hashtag not my temple.
Not my temple. But hey, you know what? I was thinking about that today. I was like, why is there? Who says there's only one temple? Maybe the part 3 does have that temple. And it's just down south.
I'm thinking not, but hey, maybe.
Maybe
they'd have to like redesign what it's for, unless they want to introduce another black materia. But
right, the white materia.
They're already doing it. Yeah, they're already doing enough with the black and white materia.
Yeah.
So,
the origin of the white materia, since we got the origin of the black materia.
Right. but on the oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, on the note of kind of talking about like the sense, like that kind of leads into my discussion about Jenova. If you wanna pivot.
I got you. Pivot. I got you.
Pivot. But we hear a lot. So now, Jenova's motif is in a lot of this game. I don't even remember every single place off the top of my head. But I think it's interesting that in Chapter 1 specifically, anytime we hear her theme coming through, it's always like synths or something very kind of electronic sounding. Like, while most of the rest of everything playing is orchestral. Whenever her theme breaks through, it sounds very, foreign to the rest of the music, or alien, like you could say, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is I think is kind of intentional, that they wanted something that stood out as like, oh man, this doesn't belong here, right? Like this doesn't belong in an orchestral piece, because Jenova doesn't belong on this planet, right? I think there may have been some intention behind that, and again, like with that kind of like weird, like synth alien type thing, if I'm on the right track with like that observation, that could be why they also chose to Listen to the Cries of the Planet synthy, even though it already was. Like that might be why they retained it, because they were very sure to get rid of the synths in pretty much everything in Remake. So I thought it was interesting that they didn't do it there. And again, it could have been like, guys, you got to put it like that. May have been like a directive from executive, but
no, I gotta agree with you. Like, yeah, I think that it places a strong emphasis on Jenova when you hear that synth come in.
Yeah, and it plays in those themes, like it plays a couple times in the themes where where Sephiroth is having his freak out in the Mako reactor. This one I think this one is in the basement, but I know it plays here.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is a new breed of monster.
Yeah, I mean, it's again just a title I made up, but
yeah.
Or no, this one might be in there. I don't remember. I don't know. I've been like trying to title so much music lately. I think this one is when he when he comes back, and there it is. Yeah, I think this is when Cloud comes after closing the valve. I think that's when it's playing. But correct me if I'm wrong. And they're saying Jenova here, if you didn't catch that, by the way.
Really?
That's what they were singing. Yeah. If you just back it up. I mean, that's not the only thing they sing, but they were singing it right there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, right? Because you always had One Winged Angel with saying Sephiroth, and now they're Jenova.
Like you can hear that.
Yeah, but you heard. I mean, you got to it pretty quickly, where you had Jenova's theme coming in, and it sounded very different from what most of the other instruments in this theme sound like, right? And that happens a couple of different times.
And
this one, I think it's closer to halfway through, maybe even a little bit further. I don't know. I could be wrong. No, I think I was wrong. My bad.
It's all right. There's that very distinct synth.
And it sounds exactly the same as it did in the theme that we just listened to, right? Like it's a very distinct. It's not just like some generic sound. Like they were very purposeful in choosing like that exact sound. Actually, I heard it too. I mean, this one kind of makes sense, but in Red 13's trial, when he's being branded by Hojo, you actually hear the Jenova leitmotifs come through there too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it plays a lot with Hojo. Like they use that music a lot with whenever Hojo's around too.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It's kind of funny, but
yeah.
But yeah. Also at the beginning of this one, I think, at the beginning of this one, it also has kind of a sound that it has some cello sounds kind of early on that sound like Beyond the Wasteland from Advent Children, which is something I pointed out about the Jenova Quickening theme, the boss battle theme in Remake. Yeah, which that's just an arrangement of It was chosen by the planet as well, so makes sense. It's Sephiroth. He's having a moment, right? That right there. I hear it.
And we heard that at the in the reveal trailer in 2015. So like a lot of this stuff, you bring up Advent Children, it does when I was doing my listen through the album and like trying to listen out for as many things as I possibly could, I started thinking about not time travel, but basically, okay, if Advent Children, knowledge of Advent Children is there, we can say that for sure. Knowledge of Advent Children, does Sephiroth coming back and all that other theories and stuff like that. And when it involves Jenova, I'm also listening out for it. And for me, when I hear the synths and I hear Jenova synths, it makes me think Jenova from the past. And then like when I hear the guitar, like the electric guitars come in, I'm like, that's Advent Children. Like that's Advent Children sneaking in. These are two different instruments that just don't feel like they fit in on the entire OST. Like you don't really hear electric guitars. That's not true. I'm sorry. That's not true. That is not true.
You
do.
We
do get some heavy, but like you get these like when it comes with their themes in particular, I suppose, I guess. But like when you get especially the synths, whenever you get those synths coming in, but yeah, I kind of like get in the mindset of, okay, is this kind of trying to tell me that this is, somewhat correlation to Advent Children and the original game? Like, are we trying to draw a correlation there, or is it just like cool nods to it? Because I think it was Jenova Tenacity when I started hearing let's see,
I know for that one you had pointed out both MIDI sounds as well as guitars.
Yeah, right there.
God, I love that guitar.
That sounds so out of place, right? For like
He's just
Jenova.
He's just flat out soloing. Oh,
Yeah.
He's just doing a solo. I wonder if that's Tsuyoshi Sakito, because he did a lot of the guitar work in the remake, and he was one of the guitarists on Jenova and Advent Children. He was part of the Black Mages.
No, nice. So Jenova Tenacity is cool. I like Jenova Tenacity, but dude, what about Jenova Emergent?
It's not the best. It's not the best theme. It's not the best theme.
This one is my favorite though. Oh.
And I've got some cool stuff to share with people on this one, because there's a lot of misconception about what's going on in this thing.
About this one?
Yes.
Jenova Emergence? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll wait. We'll let the good parts start here.
Okay.
Should be starting in just a second.
There's the.
Well, there's some of our sense, or maybe it might be a sample of the original one.
All right. So we're about to get to it. Now, Jenova, the first Jenova, was Jenova Quickening, right? And this kind of goes along with the whole birthing process, right? So we got with Quickening, that, if I remember correctly, I can look it up again, but it has something to do in the conception stage, like in the womb stage, right? That's what the Quickening is, in the womb. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, because Quickening was the name of the theme, Jenova Quickening.
Exactly. Yes.
In Japanese, and her localization name was Dreamweaver, but in Japanese it was like Jenova Pulse, which was supposed to be like heartbeat.
Perfect. Yeah. This is when...
basically like in the womb pre-birth. Because in Japanese, it's still Jenova Birth and Jenova Life, right?
Missed opportunity to call it Final Fantasy VII Pre-Birth, and then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Afterbirth, and then Afterbirth is to finish it off,
Yeah, no, I don't think that was I think that was a dodged bullet, man.
Quickening is when the pregnant person starts to feel the baby's movement in their uterus. So there's that, right? And then you have Jenova Emergent, and I think we can kind of determine what emergent means. So I just thought I thought that was interesting, because we have Emergence, but what would we say tenacity would mean? What was the tenacity Japanese version, or the
Well, the title is the same, but the localization for the boss form was Life Clinger.
Life Clinger.
I don't know why they had to put Clinger. Like, why put Clinger in there?
Yeah.
Just call it Jenova Life, man. I don't like the localized names. Like I because Dreamweaver really loses like what the intent is. Like, and then Emergent, like Emergent technically, like if merging from emerging, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still like just call it Jenova Birth. Like, why did you need to read?
But interesting though, like if we do dive into that, like let's question it. If it's life clinger, then that means And then tenacity is the quality or fact of being able to grip something firmly.
Yes. I mean, when you say somebody's tenacious, it usually means they're stubborn, right?
Continuing to exist or persistence. The fact of being very determined or determination. Those are the definitions. So, I wonder if, like, when Jenova Life Clinger, instead of it being like Jenova Birth, maybe it's a bad one. Maybe it's like came out and it's not doing too good. It's not thriving. So maybe it's just trying to cling to life. When it comes because it's not complete or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had the whole presentation from the Cetra where they said like basically they had defeated her, but like she couldn't return to the planet, so she went to a deep sleep. So I mean, you could look into like the titles there. I did a whole thing on the first episode we did where I'm like, themes of the title or the titles of the themes matter. Like they are intentional. So yeah, I mean it's definitely there's definitely merit in thinking about them that way, and I like that people do because like I'm a music guy.
I'm a music guy. I like that. Cloud Sky says Jenova is clinging to the white materia in her chest during tenacity. That's an interesting thing. I've heard that kind of going around. Do you like? Has that been confirmed? First of all, that is the white materia. I don't know. I haven't been the Ultimania stuff. We don't all have access to it.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've seen what Shinra Archaeology has posted, but I don't think I've seen anything about that, and I'd be kind of surprised if they actually answered that. But yes, life. Yeah, and Jellysand just said life clinger does give the feeling of tenacity. Yeah. When you put clinger in there and then you have tenacity, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which does make you respect the localization a little more, I guess.
But dude, listen to this. Just listen to it. Okay. Now, you had told me a little interesting detail on that one as well.
We're gonna blow your minds here. Blow everybody's minds here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would love if somebody had the Delta Sen, where are you? You know what I mean? Does somebody have the actual like translation for those lyrics or whatever the choir is singing? That would be awesome. But yeah, so that this is a choir. So go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, I think you were about to say like what I told you, and this is where I get to blow everybody's mind. This is not a choir. It is one person. It is one person. It is. She's credited as Kocho in the liner notes, and next to it just says Bulgarian choir. So it's actually just one person. We know that this is what a Bulgarian choir sounds like. I went and like looked it up and stuff. I went and like went on YouTube and listened to videos of Bulgarian choirs. This is what it like. That's the style. That's what it sounds like. So this is one person. Kocho is actually somebody named Marie Kocho, according to the Video Game Music Database. I don't know anything about her, but apparently she can sing really well. But what we're hearing, because I've heard this from almost everybody. They think it's a children's choir, and it's not a children's choir. It's one woman singing. I'm pretty sure what they're doing is a lot of vocal layering and overdubbing. Because if you go back and listen to it with that in mind, you can honestly kind of hear like how it's like it's a very uniform voice. Like it's really cool. Like it's even more impressive, honestly, to me that like it seems to just that it is just this one person.
Yeah. There you go.
You might need to go back just a little bit because I think the vocals kind of drop out. When she's singing that one note, you can hear like there's just multiple voices. So I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of lead vocals. Like that.
I love this version of it, man. All right, so I'm gonna go over to chat real quick while we wait for Steven to get back. Please let them play this in the Rebirth Orchestra. Oh yeah, near the Veil.
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm hoping to go to one of these shows as well.
I am going to the one near me.
Nice. That's awesome.
I miss the remake one. So.
Yeah, I know. I had tickets to Distant Worlds, and I unfortunately I was sick and I couldn't make it, so I was pretty upset about that. But honestly, I was always thinking like, I want to go to just the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth one.
Yeah. So to me, like, I mean, this is just obviously just a really good. But I love. First of all, I like that it's one woman singing because like. Is that Jenova's voice? Like, but then it's also like, oh, but there's many voices, and I started thinking like, okay, could there be a narrative thing? Now I don't know. This is purely speculation on my part. But first of all, I think most people hear this and they're like, that doesn't sound like singing that I hear very often. Like, it sounds very, to probably most people's ears, it sounds kind of foreign or again, alien, right? So kind of going along with that similar motif of like something that doesn't sound like maybe it belongs, especially in this soundtrack where this is the only track that sounds like this. And, we also we also know that Jenova can mimic other people and, take their forms and stuff, adopt their voices, right? So the whole like one woman with many voices, like, is that... Am I probably reading too much into it? But like, you could kind of like think of that as like, Jenova's like mimetic powers. Like, I don't know. Like, that's me thinking really deep into it, and I would be thrilled if that was like intentional, but I have no idea if it is. Yeah. It's just me trying to like find narrative purpose in the music, but I think it does work. Like, you could interpret it that way, and I think it would actually fit.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with it. I think we should all be looking for narrative in the story, in the music, because I really do think there is.
And I think you had said, for both of the Jenova boss themes, you had like when we were talking about this, you had mentioned some of like the OG MIDI sounds, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh
yeah, so.
Because this is where it kind of switches into a different phase. I think that might be what you're... What is... It's so good.
It's very good.
Alright. OG MIDI sounds, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I like that. I like that observation.
Mm-hmm.
I think for I copied your notes. So for this one, you'd said it was like the subtleness of the OG MIDI then turning to modern. There's definitely like a bass going on that's playing her motif that sounds. It sounds. I think it's an electric bass, but it sounds very, very synthetic. So it could be like a digitized bass or something. But I don't know if they are actually sampling the original track. They could be, in which case it's like genuine MIDI sounds, or maybe they just put a synth in there that sounds similar to it. I don't have the keenest ear, so I don't know if they. I couldn't actually tell you, but I do think it's interesting that they do, reference it that heavily that it sounds a lot like the 1997 version, right? Like, and I think it was a really good observation. So,
yeah, it's like that was the part right here, so you can hear the original. Really, it's in the background.
And that sounds damn close to the original. Like, it may be a genuine sample. They may have because I know in Remake they actually took a sample from Honeybee Inn from the original to put into some of the Honeybee Inn music. So it's possible there's a precedent for it. So maybe they did actually sample like the original track, but I don't know. Either way, it's pretty close, and the connection there is pretty clear in my opinion. So.
And it kind of just fades out. Yeah. Yeah. That's some cool stuff, man. I love Jenova Emergent. So good. Yeah, that was the notes I had where I was like, I thought it was a children choir. That's really cool information there.
Yeah,
it's actually
a lot of everybody's been saying that to me when people are talking like, oh yeah, the children's choir. I'm like, it's not a children's choir. I thought it was at first too. I thought it was too when I played the game.
Yeah.
But then when I saw like the liner notes and stuff, I'm like, oh shit, like it's just one person.
And I couldn't.
And then I saw Bulgarian choir. I'm like, what the heck is Bulgarian choir? Like,
I would play some, but I'm afraid that would get copyrighted, and I can't do that. But I'm sure this will as well. But I can just be like, hey, I'm analyzing the music here. But yeah, so I heard what I thought was the children choir again with Aerith's theme, "Return to the Planet." And I wouldn't be able to, I'd have to skim through the song to find it because I didn't put a marker on it.
Right.
But I made the note, and I was like, it was very weird that I heard that it felt like the same singer, but you checked the notes and you said that it wasn't that person, Kocho, you said Kocho? Yeah. Kocho wasn't credited. So I was like, all right, well, I guess if that in the Bulgarian choir was not credited, and then maybe it's not, there's no connection there. But that was me, like, I was like, I keyed in on it, and I was like, oh, whoa, that was, that's weird. So if I can find it later on, I'll bring it in. But, what, I'll bring it up now. Aerith's theme, "Return to the Planet." See, you get that. It's a little different though. And then when I was listening to it, I did hear that underwater motif, right? Which is called, it's literally just called Underwater, right? What's it called on the original?
Secret of the Deep Sea.
Secret of the
Deep Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but when I went back to listen to Secret of the Deep Sea, I noticed that it has a similar ascending and descending progression to Aerith's theme. So I think that is what it. But I mean, it could be if they wanted to be really kind of add some gallows humor into into the music, like some kind of like dark comedy. You could have said maybe there's a deep sea motif in there. I don't have the keenest ear, so I will not say that. Absolutely not. I think it is probably because they have a similar kind of progression where it's going up and going down. But
so I got a question for you though.
It might be in there.
I got a question for you about
absolutely
something about Minerva, right? So I want to jump into Minerva. This song is so beautiful.
Real quick before you do that, I will just point out that in terms of the children's choir, the Kyoto Prefectural Nishijoyo High School Choir Club did some work on the soundtrack. So they actually used high school choirs and bands to record some of the music. So that might be a high school choir singing this theme. I don't know.
That's cool.
It might be.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So detecting it as like a children's choir might actually be onto something. Anyway, I just wanted to say that to like give you that validation.
Yeah.
And you were saying Minerva.
I have Minerva on the mind. See, listen to that.
I do see what you're saying.
I think that was probably where I was coming from.
It does kind of have that sound. Again, I don't think it is quite the same thing, but
I don't want to get hung up on that because there's no way. Like, what would be the significance of having the Secret of the Deep Sea?
Well, I mean, we know the significance, but that does come off more as almost like a kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Yeah. Unless if you want to try real hard, I guess the key to the ancients is down there. But I don't think so.
The music makes me cry too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I agree. Gosh. All right. So this is one that I probably won't be able to let you. I gotta be able to let you hear it. I know you let me download it. So let me get back to it. Minerva, right?
I at least have the timestamp for the Rebirth part, so I can tell you exactly where to play that.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, you go ahead.
So let's talk about Minerva because this is a very interesting find that I got from on Reddit. It was Delta Synthesis, which I'm assuming that's Delta Syn on
Delta Syn.
It's gotta be Delta Syn, but on Twitter at Delta Syn just does a just insane amount of like digging. So Shout out to
This
Delta
seems like
Sin.
something they would. Yeah, this seems like that's something they would have pointed out.
For sure.
Just from what I know of their
For
from what I
sure.
know of their work. Yeah.
But it seems like they're onto something. So this is when
I have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to open this up and then I'll oh, sorry about that. There we go. Let's get the downloads.
So while he's pulling that up, what we're going to talk about is something that could be considered. I wouldn't actually call it a theme, but more of a leitmotif for Minerva. Leitmotif would be like the smallest possible like piece of music that could be used to represent like a character or location, an idea. So like an idea or concept would be like the Force in Star Wars, right? It has its own leitmotif. So a theme would be like a full track, right? So that's why I make that distinction. But do you got that? Do you got that ready for us?
I have it ready. You just let me know which one you want me to play.
Why don't we start with why don't you start with the Crisis Core one, since we're talking about Minerva?
Crisis Core Minerva.
Yeah, and I mean it's pretty much the beginning. Again, you're gonna have to crank it up because the sound effect is.
It's this part right here.
Yeah. Could you play that back again? I was yapping. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, the chimes.
Yeah. For anybody watching, what you really need to be listening to is the piano, and it comes in really soft at the beginning. But so now we're getting into the Crisis Core theme. So we're done with that part. But it's about 5 seconds when you hear the first part. If you go back to about 5 seconds, you should hear it.
That's it. That's what you really need to hear, and then
I could not rip the audio clean because it's a pre-rendered scene,
Yeah.
so it's got all those stupid sound effects in there, and they never released that track. So, all right.
And now this is during, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it. Did you grab from Rebirth? Did you grab that moment? Or do you?
Yeah, I did. It should be.
Okay.
It should be. I got you. I think is what I called it.
Oh, okay.
It should be
Cool,
under
cool.
Crisis. I think it's under Crisis. Yeah.
At what time?
This one is. You're gonna have to go to about 50. I'd say go to about 55 seconds just to give it a little. Pull it back a little bit. The Microsoft Media Player will jump around a little bit.
Very subtle. Same notes.
It's very subtle, and yeah, it looked like it kind of jumped a little bit when you pulled it back, so I think it skipped a little bit of it. But
There it is.
right, same exact thing.
Yeah. So for anybody wondering, okay, what the heck are you trying to say here? Delta Sin put this up. So once again, credit Delta Sin. That this actually plays during one of Zach's moments where he's actually having a flashback. So he's having a flashback within a dream. It's Inception. So he's having this flashback. I think this was when.
Well, this is right after the flashback with Marlene, but it's when he's in the tunnel where he's deciding who to go after, and he does end up going for Cloud.
Exactly, yeah. So he's talking to Marlene.
Yeah, this is that scene.
And he shows Aerith on the bed, and then the camera pans over to the white materia. And when it pans over to the white materia, you hear Minerva's idea, right? Like the idea of Minerva, right? The little subtle tune,
Like
that
the
subtle
motif,
piano
yeah.
coming in, that doom, doom, boom, boom, boom. And like it's right there. And then when Genesis is approaching Minerva at the end of Crisis Core, it's that same little motif, right? Is that what? If I'm using the word right, it's that same little motif going approaching Minerva. So I guess the idea is, it's like, are we associating the white materia with Minerva, or are we because it camera pans in on the white materia, and that's when the little notes come in, and you're like, it's supposed to be some sort of correlation. I imagine it's some sort of correlation, and it's got to be intentional, because it does sound very, very similar. So I'm gonna play it one more time, and you guys will be able to hear this. So this is from Rebirth. I think I went too far ahead. The dun, dun.
Yeah, that part. Yeah.
And then listen. I mean, that is exactly the same thing.
I mean, there's a couple of extra notes in this part, in this one, but other than that, I mean, it's playing the same. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, and you know, I hadn't caught it when you mentioned it to me. I'm like Minerva doesn't have a theme, and I'd forgotten that, like, because I remembered because it goes into the Crisis Core theme here in a second on this piece. Yeah. So I didn't even remember that it had that little original intro, but. Yeah, they kind of have established a motif for her now. There's actually, I felt like I heard kind of an inverted version of it during Aerith's trial, but I don't know where.
That was my question when I was like, I got a question for you. With these notes on the piano, I'm like, if it was inverted or reversed, is that Aerith's theme? You know what I mean?
I don't think it's Aerith. It sounded like an inverted version of that, like of the Minerva thing. I'll see if I can find it real quick, but yeah, it's interesting if so. But either way, I think it's interesting that they threw this in here. By the way, just before anybody asks, there is no such motif playing during the Cetra history lesson thing, because I know the people have pointed out like Jenova like turns into like an angelic being that looks kind of like Minerva, but nothing in the music would like really is going on there. It's just playing mostly Jenova's theme. So second. Oh, and I can't even hear it over here. Great. I think so. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like if we can make an association with Aerith and Minerva, obviously two beings who can, they're in the Lifestream and things like that. But are they the same? You know what I mean? Like, is Aerith and Minerva the same? Is the thing that was lingering in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to drop this here real quick just so that, because I do think it's worth at least hearing. And I'm not going to, it's going to be the one that's not in any folder. So it should be, if you want to like refresh the drive page and just go back out of all the folders.
Trials,
but just
Aerith trials. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so it's going to be about, if you go about, that media player will skip around. I've noticed that because I've used that media player. So go to about like maybe like 13 seconds, but it's really about it really kicks in about 17. Sounds kind of like an inverted version of this one. Yeah, you went just a touch too far. Should be right here. Sounds not the same, but it almost sounds like maybe it's like inverted or something. I don't know if that is, like, again, I don't have the keyness here, so I'd just be hearing something that's not there. But
yeah, so like that's some interesting stuff just to see that when the white materia was on screen, it did kind of give you a little subtle nod to Minerva, which is something that I think we can kind of look forward to in part 3.
Yeah. And if that was like a reference, I think that's like when she's in the train car with Afana. So there's, it's not necessarily white materia, but still
the white materia was on the floor. Remember,
exactly.
she hands over the white materia.
Exactly.
So there's something there. Maybe there's something there. And if so, I have a video in the works that's been in the works for months, but I got something, and it could add on to that. So, what else you got for me, Steven?
Oh well, I mean, I got a couple things, but I think we'll start prioritizing at this point.
Okay.
We do need to talk about Rebirth theme song, right? Like we have to talk about No Promises to Keep. I feel like I think you can't have a discussion about the music and do an analysis without it. So
yeah.
And we talked about Hollow last time, so we gotta keep the train rolling, right? So I'll go over like the less important, maybe not less important, but like the less significant stuff and move deeper. Just want to let people know that there's actually a couple different versions of this song. If you have the OC, you'll see the Loveless version. That's literally just an abridged version of the full song, which is you have to go buy the single to hear the full thing.
Yeah,
it does play on the end too. But the single version actually has what's called a band version, which was done with Uematsu's band. It's Uematsu Kon-Tiki is the name of it. Kon meaning with. And it's actually pretty cool. And then they have instrumental versions of both songs. I actually like the band version a little bit better myself. And so yeah, that's kind of the less significant stuff. Now, the big first of all, I'll say musically, there's actually a little bit of Aerith's theme in there. I think everybody pretty much heard that at the Game Awards. Like, it came in at the very end of the Game Awards version. You heard the guy playing it on piano. So, they did this big interview not too long ago with it was Uematsu, Nojima, and Nomura, and they talked about a lot of things, but of course they got into the music. And I know he talked about how he thought about how much to put Aerith's theme in there, and they were actually glad that he kind of didn't do. There's a few references to it, but it's not all over the theme, right? So I thought that was kind of cool that he actually had thought about it. But the big thing, of course, with this interview that got some people all riled up was the meaning of the song. Now, I'm just going to say it right here. I don't really have a whole lot of investment in the romance of Final Fantasy VII, so I'm just going to speak you call it like it is, right? Like, so I'm not trying to upset anybody or push anything. I know people get really upset about this kind of stuff and get really passionate, so I'm just going to go with what was said and kind of explain why some contradictions may have existed. So, what is the song about? Well, of course, everybody thought it was, Aerith singing to Cloud, but Nojima said in this interview that it's about friendship. So, it's about Aerith's relationship with, everybody, right? Like, she was isolated as a kid, didn't really have many friends, and they even have scenes in the game with her talking about wanting friendship. So the first major scene with her is at that clock tower, and she's expresses kind of a little bit of envy, I guess, or jealousy towards Cloud having had Tifa as a friend. She reiterates this in chapter 11 if you climb the water tower in Nibelheim, right? She says that there too. Mm-hmm. One of the things I don't like about Rebirth, I feel like they did not give Aerith enough attention in this game. I was really upset about that. And so I feel like a lot of the stuff kind of didn't land the way it should have, but her kind of, her whole thing in this game not her whole thing, but a lot of what she's doing is wanting these connections. And then we see at the end of the song, in the Loveless thing, she sees the Avalanche trio. Now, I personally don't think that makes much sense since never met Jessie. She barely met Wedge and probably hadn't seen Biggs in forever. So
right, yeah,
I don't know why
that was weird.
But I think it was when you understand that the song is about friendship. I think that's kind of what they were trying to do, was reinforce that aspect of it. Now, there were people who pointed out that in an interview, Uematsu and Allred said that it was a love song, which, I guess they did.
Love means, yeah.
Now, of course, in English, whenever we say love song, we're talking about romantic love. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to push this too hard, but it is possible that a love song can be friendship, right? Mm-hmm. Another thing is that Nojima wrote the lyrics, not Uematsu, and definitely not Allred. So I'm going to take the word of the person who wrote the lyrics, which was Nojima, and it's very possible they hadn't discussed the meaning in depth at the time that the interview was given, and and of course, Allred was working with Uematsu, not with Nojima, so she would have taken what he had said and the direction he gave her, which, and also Uematsu is admittedly, he says this in the liner notes for Rebirth, he's a huge Aerith fan, so maybe he was excited about it too. So I don't know, maybe he's also a shipper. I don't know, but it's I don't I don't know why it is a big deal to some people, because it's like, I mean, it's not specifically about Cloud. It does include him, first of all, and second of all, that doesn't disprove that she would have plans for him or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, I don't really care to get involved in that conversation. I'm just calling it or just saying it how it is and presenting the facts, and that is what Nojima said it was about. Nobody has actually spoken up about specifically what Hollow was about, so I can't have that conversation because I feel like people would ask that next. But they never did an interview, as far as I'm aware, where Nojima said exactly what he had in mind for that. So
yeah, so I got Nojima's quote. It says, "But I made sure it didn't sound like she was singing about Cloud or Zack or anyone specific, etc. It's all about. It's also about the burden of her destiny as the last of the Cetra, Elmira, her real mother, Zack, Cloud, and even Tifa and Barrett." Is what he says in that interview. And we have the whole burden of being a Cetra thing in one of her other big scenes in the game, which is the River Light ceremony when she gives that speech, right? So yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I'll admit, when I played through that sequence where she sings a song, I kind of felt like it came out of nowhere a little bit, and so I was like, this is weird. And again, I feel like if they had given Aerith more of the spotlight, it wouldn't have felt as weird. But you do see where, like, when that it's like a song about all the people in her life, like, you see where, like, these some of the biggest scenes that she has in the game are actually kind of leading up to her own personal, like, climax with that song being sung. And I think that I do still feel like they could have and should have executed it better and given it a little bit more emphasis, but knowing what the intent behind the song was kind of helps piece it together for me a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, obviously you backed it up with all the facts and stuff like that. I think the song is obviously, Aerith is even writing it, and her at the hotel,
the hotel.
Which was kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, I mean, walking city streets with worn cobblestones, listening to people rush by with rhythms all their own, life passing me by, not knowing how the years have flown until I met you. And I think if you look at that lyrics, I mean, the opening of Final Fantasy VII Remake, the cobblestones, dropping the flower and all that other stuff, people walking by, literally the opening of Final Fantasy VII. So that's not too surprising. And then, yeah, until I met you, and when she meets Cloud, she does meet everyone else that becomes close friends and stuff like that. So there is that. I agree with that.
There's also an allusion, like somebody had pointed out, like the cobblestone thing. Until I met you, also kind of mirrors her trial when she's walking down cobblestones and then meets Elmira. So you can. I mean, that's not the interpretation I would go with, but I like that. Like I said this with Hollow, songs are very interpretable. Like you can
interpret it the way you want to interpret it, and honestly, in my opinion, and I'm not for or against either one. Like any side of the shipping thing, I think that's so stupid. But I think, in my opinion, I think this is more impactful. It's me. I think it was more impactful if she's talking about Cloud as well as the other crew.
Absolutely.
I actually kind of like it. I mean, yeah, I like that. People, especially at this age, when growing up, I like two different girls. I like a couple of different girls. So I like this, and who's to say she can't as well? So, anyways, with all that crap aside, I do think this is definitely her singing about meeting Cloud and company, and as Kojima or Nojima said, that seems to be the case here, and I love that this echoes Hollow in a lot of ways. So like Hollow, and like this is definitely Aerith, and then Hollow is definitely Cloud. That those two things we can definitely say for sure. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
They confirmed those. So
Exactly. And I think it's so crazy how they echo each other in terms of lyrics, but also we get a mellowed version of No Promises to Keep, like an instrumental mellowed down version of it during the date sequence that happens in Sector 6, which is exactly... I'm sorry. I said 5. Yeah, Sector 5.
Yeah, no, they're not Walmart. They're not dreaming about Walmart.
I mean, hey, that's where I would take my date. No, I'm just kidding. I would not.
God.
No. So yeah, Sector 5, Undercity, which is exactly where Hollow played.
Hollow Skies, the instrumental.
Yeah,
the
Hollow
instrumental
Skies.
version of Hollow.
So I thought that was really cool as well. Yeah, man. This song, it to me, was very powerful. Like when I heard it at the Game Awards, Joshy Poo saying that Joshy Poo was in the audience when they played it. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
I'm
Lauren
jealous.
Allred has an
jealous.
incredible voice.
She does.
And yeah, I thought that was cool. Little parallels there. And then when you have when she says, "Till the day that we meet again, where or when, I wish that I could say, but believe that you'll find me. Promise to keep, we won't ever need." She says, doesn't she say at our place at some point? Yeah, at our place, just let me believe.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting when she says at our place, because this also echoes a little Joshy Poo Lost theory that we were talking about in the previous podcast, as well as Joshy Poo has a whole video on Lost. When she says, "We'll meet again at our place." And where's her place? And she says, "Silly cloud, that's at the church." Right? Well, that was when she says, you really don't know, during the dream date sequence. And he's like, "Oh, the church," right? She's like, "We're going to meet at our place," right? So there it is. Kind of what she says. They meet at the place. It's a church. Lost. It's a church. So it kind of gets me, it gets me going, man. I'm back to the whole thing of like, we'll meet again at our church, and then we'll go into the live stream together. God, Joshy Poo, it just keeps on. Joshy Poo, I'm talking to you. It keeps on reinforcing the theory, man. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Take my hand and we can be together evermore, which is like, again, with Lost, they hold hands and they walk into walk out the door of the church, which is they can walk into the live stream holding hands and they can be together in spirit. Cool stuff. And yeah, I think that's all I got. You got anything more on No Promises to Keep?
I will say the instrumental version, One Last Date. There's actually a second one that plays during the like when they're getting the photos taken. It's actually different than what's on the soundtrack. So again, another thing they haven't released yet, but it is a little bit different. So they actually did 2 instrumental arrangements of this one. And yes, Cloud Sky pointed out there's an instrumental version of Hollow, which is also called Hollow Skies, that plays in the Wastelands. Kind of around where Zack died, and yes, that is correct. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like it's around where Zack died, and it's also where the original, like where Hollow plays at the end of Remake. It's a very good version, and I love the battle arrangement of it though. So
I got a quote that subtext pulled from blog.playstation.com, the PlayStation blog. Umatsu says that since it is a ballad, I wanted to make it absolutely electrifying. I was asked to make the song so that the key phrase would play in repetition, and that's when Harry Nilsson's "Without You" came to mind, and took inspiration from that. So it was inspired from Harry Nilsson's "Without You," and Mariah Carey apparently did a cover. Thank you, Delta Sin.
Yeah, it's definitely got that classic like Uematsu ballad feel. Like it reminded me of Eyes on Me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
First time I heard it. I mean, not because of like, huge similarity, but just because like it has a similar feel to me. But it's a new Uematsu ballad. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Through and through.
And then, of course, if you want more information on No Promises to Keep, coming straight from the developers themselves, you can check out the PlayStation blog where Lauren Allred and Nobuo Uematsu talk about it. So there's that. All right. So, do you have anything else that you want to go over, Stephen? Before or
I have a few other things. Yeah, I have a few other things we can if you want to.
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll give it some more time. We're at the 1:45 marker, so we can take it to 2 hours if you want to.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I've got a few more things. So,
and then chat. I'm sorry, real quick, chat. If you have any questions for
it.
at FF7 Music at FFVII Music, get them in here, man, and let's see if Stephen can answer them for you. Go ahead, Stephen.
I will do my best. So I know we had talked about the Promised Land playing in Remake. I had a whole lot of theories about what it meant because it was Advent Children stuff. I do feel like some of that stuff was definitely not really on the right track, which is fine. But we do hear the Promised Land a lot more in Rebirth. I was going to point some of those out because they're all kind of like Cetra connected places, right? So some people may have missed this, but if you go to the Sildra Inn in Cosmo Canyon, which by the way, Sildra is a Final Fantasy V reference. That's Ferris's like sea serpent or whatever. I love Final Fantasy V, so I had to point that out real quick.
Yes.
And of course Gilgamesh is from 5. So if you don't know that, it says So anyway, in the Sildra Inn, you can actually hear a choir singing it. Like it's diegetic, so it's like it's actually in game. It's not like the characters can't hear it, right? So it's pretty cool. And that's actually, as far as I'm aware, that's actually just the track from Advent Children. It's not like a new arrangement or anything. It's taken straight from it. Also in the Cosmo Canyon region, once you beat like Gears and Gambits, like you play it 4 times, and in each section after you beat it, you will hear Cycle of Souls from Remake play in those areas. And of course, Cosmo Canyon, they said like the Cetra, had settled that area like many years ago. So I think that's probably why they're putting it in there. And then of course the other big place that we hear it is in the Forgotten Capital. We hear a couple of different arrangements. It's the first thing we hear when they have the big cinematic where Vincent's sitting there looking out over the city and stuff. And like a battle edit plays during the White Whisper battle that you get there. So again, we're not even hearing Listen to the Cries of the Planet in the Forgotten Capital like you would think we would.
Yeah.
We're hearing the Promised Land. So it's, of course, it's called the Promised Land, and so having it be related to Cetra connected places makes a lot of sense.
That's because we're listening to the planet's rapture. You know what I mean? The planet.
Yeah.
Sephiroth is right.
And it does. And it does make me think. It kind of makes me reevaluate Cycle of Souls playing in Remake because, like, I had pointed out that like it mirrors Advent Children and that it plays in between encounters with Sephiroth and Aerith, which the Promised Land played at the end, like after the Sephiroth battle. It plays at the beginning when Marlene's doing her like little monologue recap thing, but it also plays after he defeats Sephiroth, and then it's like bookended by him meeting Aerith kind of in the live stream when she sends him back and says he's too big to adopt or whatever.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking it was more like I kind of leaned into it was more like reference to Sephiroth, but I think now maybe it's like meant to foreshadow like that Cloud was heading toward Aerith because it stops when he reaches Aerith on Loveless Street. So again, it's just speculation on my part, but
yeah, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to just read Cloud Sky. Any commentary on the music at the Lakeside when Aerith suddenly appears next to Cloud?
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know that there's any... I was having a conversation with people on Twitter like this morning or yesterday or something. I don't know. I can't keep track of my days anymore. Hold on. I think I had made...
Do you have that song?
So... I do. Yeah, I got it. Hold on. I don't know that I have an edited version of it, but I've definitely got a game recording of it, if nothing else. Give me just a second here.
Yeah.
I will say that we are hearing Aerith's theme play. We hear some of the main theme, and then again, it kind of ends with the opening / Lifestream motif again. And it's not in here.
We got any subtle hints of Jenova in there? No.
Somebody asked me about that, and I checked, and what I think what they were here, there's like this kind of like twinkling sound effect going on, like in the game. It's not in the music file, and I think they were hearing that and kind of maybe thought it does kind of have a little Jenova-ish. But I don't think that's what's going on. Okay, yep, I've got it here. Now the track is actually going to start where Zach's sitting in the church, I think, or something like that. So when you first play the track, you're going to hear Crisis Core music, but there's nothing wrong with that because Crisis Core music is awesome. So you might you'll have to skip a little bit to get to like the air stuff, but I'm not hearing anything other that's like, again, mind blowing or anything. It's playing music that you would expect it to play. Now it's playing a very like sad version of Air's theme. It's very different than anything we've ever heard. I think it was Delta Sin who said he thought it was playing Cloud Smiles, which I can see why he would have thought that, because Cloud Smiles does have some of Air's theme in it.
And where's
maybe like 20 seconds in or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so not too far.
No, it's not too far.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it up.
A little bit further. Yeah, it might be a little bit further too. Yeah, because it may be like closer to a minute in. This is Crisis Core. Yeah,
yeah, that's Crisis Core.
This is Price of Freedom. I'm gonna grab more water while you're.
I can play the from the actual cutscene real quick.
I can pull up the file on my computer.
You can't hear this, but I'm playing the actual cutscene.
Yep. Sounds good.
I'm telling you, dude. Alright, I need to find that for you because I know this keeps going around, but this Aerith here, I've been kind of on the train. I've been on the train where I feel like this might be like a little Jenova appearance, but I mean, we get the Cloud mental glitch. He glitches out, and then he looks over, and the music gets this strong, and then you hear like a do 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 do, and you know what I mean?
It's about at 110 on this
110?
file if you wanna pull pull it back a little bit. Starts playing here. This is when they first, like, this is when the lake, like when it first moves to the lake, not quite when Aerith first appears.
Yeah, because then the boom comes in.
But you can hear
boom.
That's main theme coming through.
I don't know. Is that the?
Oh, that's just Aerith's theme.
I'm trying to find the part where in this what you sent me, Cloud glitches, and then like when he sees Aerith,
Again, I'm wondering if that was actually a sound effect in the game and not part of the music, because somebody else pointed that out, and I'd started listening to the scene like with the sound effects, and it was like it sounded a little bit more Jenova-esque.
Sounds good.
But I'm wondering if it's just the sound effects screwing with us. I listened through the whole thing and did not hear anything that sounded like Genova's leitmotif. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
And what I also said is I don't know that they would drop a that kind of a hint through the music, right? They don't want us to know yet. So if you put her theme in the music, it's a dead giveaway. And that one's one of those, like, it's too recognizable that it's not going to slip past unnoticed. So I think even if that's what's going on, I feel like they wouldn't put it in there just because, like,
I'll see you off.
that would kind of ruin the mystery. That's just my personal opinion.
That's where I kind of go into it, and I mean, I get the whole like whenever that sound, I know it's supposed to be like eerie because it's like you're seeing somebody who's supposed to be dead, right? Like so it's like, and like the player is seeing somebody who's supposed to be dead. It's not eerie for Cloud, but like when it goes, he does the mind glitch and then he goes, and then it's like, doo, 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 doo. And then and I'm like, oh snap. But also kind of to piggyback off of that just for fun. She says, I'll see you off. And then, that's exactly what she said to Cloud. God, when was that? It was in Remake, right? When she said, I'll see you off. She says that at somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was around chapter 9 when she was going to take him. She was going to take him back to like Sector 7 or something.
I'll see you off.
Or show him how to get back there.
So that's Jenova just pulling memory, baby. That's just Jenova pulling memory, Steven. All right, there we go. Yeah, that's what we got on that one, Cloud Sky. I honestly feel like, in my opinion, when we see her, it definitely goes to eerie. It definitely gives you that solid bass, just like mostly.
Well, and even like the main theme part that it's playing there is like kind of like the creepy part, the dun, like, and it almost has a little bit of, almost sounds a little bit like Sephiroth's theme there, but yeah, it's playing that part. It's not playing the part that makes you feel good. It's playing like the darker part. So, which is just a clever use of existing motifs, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like you can hear that. Dun, dun, dun. But anyways, so that's what we got on that scene. Anybody else have any questions or anything that you guys want to add before we get ready to roll out? We got about maybe 3 more minutes. I'm going to do here.
I do remember you had brought up some stuff about Purist of Materia. You still want to talk about that? Or?
I did. This ties in with my video I've been working on, so I don't know if I'm going to discuss. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got a video in the works, and I don't know what's going to happen with it, but Purist of Materia. I'm looking at my notes now.
What I will go ahead and say, because I know you had asked what part of the game it plays in, and other people might have that question now too. It's the final cutscene in the Village of the Gi when Gina Talk is asking them to like retrieve the black materia. Like after you fought everything and walked up those stairs, right? That's where it plays. Exactly, man. Exactly. I've got some thoughts. So I'm gonna save that for the video I've been working on. I will say we'll end it with this. This will be a fun way to end it. What's your favorite song in Rebirth? What's your favorite theme song? Whatever. Okay, so I can't give like a definitive there's just one answer, but one thing that I've been really rocking out to the past few days, the Temple of the Ancients theme. There's actually a lot of versions of it, and of course they only put like 2 of them on the soundtrack. There's a battle version that plays inside the temple, like when you get inside the temple, that's different than what's on the soundtrack, and it's got this like amazing crescendo, like with the vocals and stuff. And it's so good. It gives me chills every time. I've been listening to that a lot lately. For stuff that's on the soundtrack, a couple things that immediately come to mind are Gina Talk. Like his boss theme is great. Midgard's Armor is so cool. The third phase when you get the like rock instruments kicking in, I love that. The Hollow Skies themes are really good. I actually really like Red's Queen's Blood music. Oh yeah, it's so good, and it has a little bit of It's Hard to Stand on Both Feet, as well as like Red 13's theme baked in there. Actually, the Regina theme, Queen's Blood theme, Prodigious Pedigree is really good too.
I don't think that was was that on the OST?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's right before the Red 13 themes.
Gotcha.
Galean or Galean, I don't know how you pronounce it, but Vincent's boss battle theme is also really damn good. I gravitated a lot more toward the battle themes on this one than I did on Remake. I think it's because they prioritize the battle themes a lot and on the Rebirth soundtrack. Like, it seems like they mostly are doing like location and battle themes as opposed to like cutscene themes. They do have some cutscene themes in there, but they did seem to heavily prioritize like location and battle themes. So
yeah. The MCP says not enough people talking about Sung and Elena's battle theme.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so good.
Sung and Elena.
It's so weird.
This is right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a cool arrangement of the Turks theme. I love it. It's so good.
Oh, they scatting right now, man. They're just scatting.
There is some of the main battle theme in here too, by the way.
That is cool. I like that.
It's so good.
Good
It's
shout
so
out there.
good.
Here's one that. All right, so I asked you your favorites.
Yeah. What are your favorites? What are your favorites?
Well, you gave me some like maybe underrated or overlooked songs, and I like that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna give you one of my maybe overlooked ones, because this is the freaking jam right here, man. This is the Anoran Suppressor.
Yeah, I almost mentioned that.
Baby.
I almost mentioned it. It's so good.
Oh.
Oh, this is
When
such
you
a
were
good
saying
thing.
like synth earlier, I was like, they kind of go like dubstep with this.
Yeah.
They just... Here comes into it. Let me get into it.
So good.
Here it goes. Yeah, this Palmer battle. This is a battle against Palmer. It had no right.
I know, like, yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm like, there were a lot of things there were a lot of qualms I had with that part,
Yeah.
but I was like, but man, they delivered on the music. Actually, I really like the mini game music for the like, you know, when you're like shooting him down like from the buggy.
Yeah.
Like, that music is actually pretty good too. Like, I mean,
The
there's
Prison
just so much
Break,
good
right?
stuff.
Is that Prison Break?
Yeah.
Prison Break.
I believe so. It's like, I think it's right after this one
Yeah,
on the
'cause,
soundtrack,
like-
but it's so good. There's so much good music.
It just gets better and better as it goes on. So Anoran Suppressor was one of my standouts there, and this is what you were talking about. You were talking about Prison Break, so I'm going to play a little bit of it. Just is this the one?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you go back to the beginning, I think that's where like this part is also in there, and it's just like it's.
Yeah, I love it when they do that.
But it does have those softer parts too.
So all right, now I see it already in chat near the veil. I see you. Also in the vein of the songs not needing to be so good, why does Gus have so many variations of his theme, and why do they all rock? Now on the OST, I believe Gus only has one, just the theme, right? But come on, man, Gus is funk.
The Gus funk. The Gus funk.
The Gus funk
is. There's an instrumental arrangement, and I think there's battle arrangements that play in the like Dust Bowl Coliseum as well.
Yeah, the Gus funk is honestly, it's weird. I bring up the Rebirth OST, and the very first song I click on is the Gus funk, and then I'll listen to the rest of the album on shuffle. Like, it is always Gus funk to start it off, man. I am jamming so hard in my car. I'm just blasting the Gus funk. Yeah. So that is yeah. Come on, man. Here we go. Oh. That's how I've been closing out all of my videos. That's how I'm gonna close them out from now on. It just makes you feel good. You make you feel like you're like, oh, I gotta subscribe. You know, it's just so good. All right, so Anoran Suppressor was just a shout out. I kind of wanted to shout that one out, and then my freaking favorite songs, man. Freaking favorite songs on the OST. Gotta be the Gus Funk is up there. I don't know, these are not in any particular order, but Gus Funk, the Jungles of Gungaga, dude.
So that's definitely like a fan favorite.
What, dude? When this started playing, I just put the controller down. I was like, what is happening? You know what I mean? I was sitting there like, I'm just, I don't even know what he's saying. I just like it though. I like it. And then, let me see another. Okay.
Near talked about Battle on the Big Bridge, which yes, absolutely, freaking. They're all good, by the way. There's like 100 arrangements of it, and they're all freaking great. But yes, the battle theme is just god tier.
Yeah,
I love that theme anyway. Like I always actually, when I very first saw Gilgamesh in the State of Play trailer, I tweeted out, I was like, guys, you know what this means? Like Battle at the Big Bridge Rebirth version. Like that was the first thing I tweeted. I'm like, holy shit.
And the Rebirth version, might, I don't know. I'm a little biased, I guess, but it might be my favorite version of the Battle of the Big Bridge.
It's definitely a contender. I mean, they're all really freaking good. They're
so good. Genova Emergence is my #1 favorite on the entire album.
Emergence is phenomenal.
Freaking love Genova Emergence. And then there's so many great hits on this OST, so it's hard to like. Oh, dude, the Gold Saucer, what they did with that is fantastic. Like it made me feel like I was at a music park. And I'm talking about like when we get a little later in. Dun, 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 and like threw me off a little bit. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh man, they really just took it and just like, I'm gonna go with it. I love it. So welcome to the Gold Saucer. They did a fantastic job with that one.
They do a lot of good. Like I had remembered on the first episode we did, I had talked about things I wanted in the next game, and I said like some more like mashup themes, and man, they do a lot of mashup stuff with Gold Saucer, both using like Gold Saucer with character themes, and then of course during the Gondola date you have like all these themes with for Works Drowned by Fireworks with the character themes. So actually I think my favorite one might be the Kate Sith Vincent one.
That's cool.
So good.
That wasn't on.
It's so good.
That's not on the OST.
No, none of those are. No.
Yeah, and very upset that the lo-fi, or I guess lo-fi, but the nice, cool music that plays when you first
when you open the door and you see them.
So good, man. That's not on the album. It's not on the OST. Pretty upset about that one. Let down a little bit by Cosmo Canyon. Not gonna lie. I thought it was good, but something about the OG for me better. What's up?
I'm gonna send you my preferred arrangement of this one in just a second here.
Okay. What about you, Chad? You guys, what do you think of?
Because my favorite one, I knew, I was like, they are not going to put this one on the soundtrack. I was like, I know they're not going to, and it was a heartbreaker.
Okay.
But if you refresh the drive folder, you'll see a Cosmo Canyon one in there.
Doing it now. Because I like what they did, and I like how it's real instruments. You can So let's go here.
Yeah. Now this one is still very different from the original, but.
So this is.
Oh, I just.
Yeah. This is the other mix of it that plays.
One other mix. There's several.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's gonna have some cellos come in here. It's so good. I absolutely love this one. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that is good. This plays,
and then you have the cellos coming in. Yeah. It plays in a few different places. It plays during the seminar.
Yeah.
That where Tifa's talking. It plays kind of around that area, and then at the end of Red 13 side quests, like the one with Bugenhagen, and then the one with the Gi, it plays in there too. So this one I thought was the best one.
That is
it's my
really
personal
good.
favorite.
I like
it's
that.
my personal favorite.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one.
It's so good, so good.
Let's see. Vineyard.
Real quick, I did want to address it.
Yes.
I did want to address a couple things in chat. Somebody, I think it was Cloud Sky, said something about hearing Land of Icons during the fight, the Kid G fight. I think probably the connection you're making there is Land of Icons is from FF16. It's based off of it's based around the Prelude. I think that's probably where you're hearing that. I heard somebody else say that too, that it sounded like an FF16 theme. And it does have that kind of like vibe to it, but I think where the similarity is coming from is that it's is that they're both
based on the Prelude. Yeah.
Now what is interesting though is we do have music from other Final Fantasy. We already talked about Battle on the Big Bridge. We also have Samba de Chocobo from Final Fantasy IV, and Crazy Chocobo.
Yeah, come on, baby, let's go.
That's from 13 too.
I know.
Now
I found that out.
Samba
too.
and Crazy are new arrangements. Yeah, and by the way, if anybody remembers the Happy Turtle jingle, the metal one, same guy, Shooty HD.
Yeah.
And you can hear his voice. It sounds exactly the same. It's a Happy Turtle. Yep. Woo!
Come on, man. I love that.
Also,
about that.
Vinya, the Square Enix Jazz version of Cosmo Canyon was in the Jukebox and Remake.
Yep.
If you did not know.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was one
it just
other
didn't
thing.
hit for me. When I walked in there, I was looking forward to that moment so much, and I was like, all right, I guess it's good. I respect what they were doing. It definitely uses the real instruments, and it's just like, you know what? Something about that original game just does it better.
So I'm gonna take a guess at what you liked from the original that they're not recreating is there's just a very pronounced bass line that's doing the do 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 in the original. It's a bass line where they're not using bass, they're using orchestra. So I mean they might be using a double bass, but it's not it doesn't feel the same. So wait next month and we'll see what Ever Crisis's arrangement sounds like.
That's
Maybe it'll do it
true.
for you.
Ever Crisis has been doing some fantastic stuff.
The arrangements of the original as well as like the new music they're doing is all absolutely outstanding. Way better than what like a gacha game should be. Right?
Yeah. Near the Veil says if we don't get the return of the Happy Turtle battle song in Wutai, it'd be very disappointed.
I think they played the Happy Turtle battle theme in I think one of the Musclehead Coliseum battles in Rebirth.
Oh, nice.
I think so. I'm pretty certain it's almost. There's a ton of remake music that they just put in Rebirth.
Yeah, just like put it in there. Yeah. Going to get fully wrecked at the Happy Turtle. You know what I mean?
But Shooty had done the 13-2 thing, and that's how he got put in a remake, and then they rearranged Crazy Chocobo for Rebirth.
I was freaking
funny as hell.
I sent it to my brother. I was like, dude, this is a Final Fantasy song. I just want you to know that. There you go.
So good.
I loved it. Of course, I love just metal music, or hard rock music, so that works out for me.
I love metal as well.
Yeah. All right, so I believe that probably wraps this up pretty nicely. This was a fun conversation, man. This is fun.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being on here. I just love listening to it and taking it apart, try to find some hidden messages in it. I think there's a whole lot more obviously that we didn't we didn't go through every single song.
God.
And there's so many, like, each
That
song...
would take
Yeah.
That would take hours and hours. I mean, over 400 pieces of music, and honestly, I think that was an underestimation. I think there's more than
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the album itself had, like, what, freaking 800 or 175 or 173 or something on it?
176, I think, for
Yeah.
the 7 disc. But if you got the special
Crazy.
edition, it's 209.
Crazy.
with the and that's less than half the music.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if people realize that. There's literally over 50% of the music.
You
is not
literally had
included.
to. You literally had to send me some of the. Like to let us listen to some songs that didn't make it on the album. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Now what I will say is, like, the they're definitely going to do a soundtrack plus. So for anybody that's like, they'll do one if they follow the same time frame as remakes original soundtrack plus. Should be out probably in November.
Yeah.
Don't know that they will. Remakes Soundtrack Plus was 4 discs, and they absolutely need to do more than that for Rebirths. But I'm also just going to tell people, like, Remake had some music that never got released, which is why I put together an unreleased album for it.
Nice.
So it's going to be worse for Rebirth. There's going to be more music and probably some that people really want to hear.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I
don't want to, like, bum people out, but I also want to, like, I want people to, like, at least be prepared for, like, some things are not going to make it onto the soundtrack plus.
Yeah, I agree. You got to agree.
Yeah.
But you know what people can do? People can go follow you at FF7 Music. That's at FFVII Music. And Steven will keep you in the loop with any songs and stuff like that, some breakdowns, and like, we didn't even talk about all the stuff that you posted on Twitter. So there's a lot. You do this almost daily at this point, where you post a song and then you like, add a little blurb about it, which is cool. So yeah,
I do daily spotlights. Yep, and then every now and then I'm doing kind of deeper analyses, like I'll do, like, a tweet thread like I did with the Lifestream music.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some more of that planned, so just, like, if you enjoy it, go follow me on Twitter if you're not already, and just keep an eye out on I'm posting stuff. I also actually have a Gilgamesh thread going. A lot of people I know who played Remake are newer fans, and so I was like, oh, you guys don't know who Gilgamesh is? And finally I was like, I'm just going to do, like, a whole thread about him, like, just who he is and stuff. I haven't finished it because I'm going through each game.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I like that.
Yeah. I'm in a bit of a pickle because I'm up to 14, but I haven't played Shadowbringers, and I heard that, like, his appearance in Shadowbringers is, like, it kind of spoils it, like, if you haven't played it yet. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have to skip it and come back to it. But anyway.
Yeah. Where are you at in 14?
I played A Realm Reborn like 3 years ago, and then last month I guess last month now, I did the Hildebrand side, like, quest line, so that I could do the Gilgamesh stuff.
Yeah,
because that's where he appears. And I have not, still haven't done Heaven's Word. At this point, I'm waiting for the graphical update, because why the hell not? But
sure, yeah, because you've been I thought you were streaming it too, right?
I was streaming the Hildebrand quest line, because I was like, if I'm gonna play it, I may as well do it. And then I'm traveling later this month, but I think when I get back, I'm like, because I really want to replay OG, so I'm probably gonna stream that when I get back.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Like, on stream.
Do the.
I also have never played it modded, so I'm not gonna do, like, a crazy mod, but I do want to do like some cosmetic stuff.
Honestly, dude.
And then I think sometime down the road I'll do a crazier mod.
The thing that you need to do, and I would recommend this to everybody, and I think I'm gonna try and do another video. Just say I need to get this out. I need to get this message out to people, man. Freaking Final Fantasy VII modded, but just all you need to do is just get the 60 frames per second. Get the 60 frames per second, widescreen 4K. Honestly, that is all you need. All the other cool cosmetic mods they're cool. I like Nino style. I like the Nino style character models. They're really cool too. But man, there's nothing quite like it. 4K, 60 frames per second, widescreen. True widescreen. Not like stretched image or anything like that. Like, we're talking the environments that were only 4:3 are now 16:9, and it's mind-blowing to me. It's the best way to play Final Fantasy VII, and then with the Maguri mod for Final Fantasy IX, oh my god, dude. Yeah, so that's where like I've been in that kind of state lately, where I'm just kind of like I got nothing going on that I like creatively. I've just hit this mental block. I'm done, right? Like not done, but like
it happens.
I'm burnt up here, like where I'm like, what do I do? I feel this need to create something, and then I go to create it, and I've written out a whole script, and I was like, I recorded the script, and then I was editing the video, and I just went, I don't even care. It was like, if I don't care about it, people are gonna know that I don't care.
They're not going to.
Yeah. So nobody's gonna care. So I was just like, I just need something. So I booted up Final Fantasy IX, and it's been so nice. It's been so great to just be like, all right, I need to take a step back and boot up 9. A part of me feels like I should have streamed it though, but like I should be like, it's like, you know what, make some content on it, like, you know, stream it for people to see. But I'm just, it's Final Fantasy, man. That's what it is for me. Final Fantasy is such a great little like therapeutic outlet. So yeah, I've been really enjoying Final Fantasy IX. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you all. Thank you for sticking through the entire breakdown. I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. I hope you got something out of it. Steven, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I always enjoy hearing you talk about this stuff. You obviously know what you're talking about with it, and I love following you on Twitter and kind of keeping up with your daily posts. And I wish you the best with all of that. And I hope you keep it up, man. So thank you.
Yeah, I plan to. And thank you all for listening to me ramble for a while.
Hell yeah.
And you, Warrior Fight, for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's been great. We'll do it again. Thank you, everybody watching.